Welcome to Building the Future, hosted by Kevin Horick. With millions of listeners a month, Building the Future has quickly become one of the fastest rising programs, with a focus on interviewing startups, entrepreneurs, investors, CEOs, and more. The radio and TV show airs in 15 markets across the globe, including Silicon Valley. For full showtimes, past episodes, or to sponsor the show, please visit buildingthefutureshow.com.
Welcome back to the show. Today we have Erick Yanez. He's the CEO at Vector Networks. Erick, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the show. I think what you guys are doing at Vector Networks and your conference is really innovative and cool. But maybe before we get into that, let's get to know you a little bit better and start off with where you grew up.
Sure. I was born actually in Mexico City, and in a family surrounded by medicine and psychology. So not much technology.
Okay.
And it was all about medicine. And but I was always very interested in science and technology. In fact, for a while, I wanted to be astrophysics. Imagine.
Interesting. So, what got you passionate about that growing up?
Yeah, well, I just loved physics. That was
interesting.
I really liked it, and that time, black holes and a lot of interesting topics. So I really liked those things. I was also very entrepreneurial from when I was a kid, and I was very successful, I have to say, in my studies, with awards and scholarships, and I studied electronics and telecommunications engineering.
Okay. Where'd you take that?
It's Tech of Monterrey, which is kind of an MIT type of organization, a pretty good university, and graduated with the record GPA of the university. So
wow, congrats, man! That's huge. That's great.
So I worked hard on that, and then for a while I taught mathematics and physics for a while in telecommunications lab, but I always had also the entrepreneurial spirit, and I started when I was very young a few unsuccessful companies of all kinds. And one that was a funny attempt was a service company that we offered like a service for polishing cutlery for restaurants.
Okay, interesting. How did you come up with the idea and walk us through that journey?
Now the idea, the key here was that we were going to use this machine, this revolutionary machine was going to polish the cutlery. And so this is, I got, a friend of mine told me about this idea, and that he had access to such a powerful machine and nice machine, in new invention. So we took a look at it and we liked it, and we said, let's go. And it was like a big hexagonal container with many bearing balls attached to an electric motor. All right. Just rotating, right?
Sure.
And so you put chemicals on it and the cutlery, and then after the promise of that was that after an hour or so, then the cutlery was clean and polished and beautiful. Okay. So I went door to door to restaurants and actually got a few customers.
Interesting.
Yeah. The problem was that the machine was supposed to do it in an hour or two. Okay. But it ended up taking more like 20 hours just to get a minimum visible change, like not even nice polishing. Just so with all it was so much electricity, so much trouble, and because of that, the cost of the cutlery is typically not big. Right. So with all this, it was really cost effective only for very expensive cutlery. The kind that is not really used in restaurants, right?
Got you.
So
Okay. Interesting.
it was, it was a business that never produced any money or
Okay.
any significant profit, rather. So,
Sometimes those are the best learning experiences, right?
so it was, it was an interesting one. I, I never really practiced much electronics per se, and shortly moved to software.
Okay.
It was a lower. I mean, there's a lot more interesting opportunities in software,
Agreed.
and
Sure.
it was great in terms of being part of some of the very interesting projects that I started participating in big companies.
Okay.
At that time, EDS, a company that no longer has that name. It's HP Enterprise now.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a consulting company, and I worked with the airlines, helping, in projects for IT systems for like Continental Airlines.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting. Okay.
and my focus was on projects on the technology for help desk and customer service areas, and so yeah, a little bit of everything. There was a lot of software. I learned a lot about software and great practices. I think you learn a lot from these big companies. So it was really really fun, and that's more or less around the time when I was invited. At that time, I was also kind of going to different places because it was an airline. There was a need sometimes to go on site to where these to different airports and projects. So it was interesting. It was great for me at the time, and then the the founders of Vector Networks and Vector Networks. Let me just tell you, I guess, a little bit more about
Sure.
Vector Networks. So Vector Networks is a software developer company.
Okay.
We provide solutions, innovative solutions for managing IT processes and IT resources.
Okay.
And Vector Network was founded about 20, 20 something years ago. Yeah,
Wow.
25 years ago.
That's
Yeah.
a long time for a tech
Yeah.
company, right?
Right. By some software developers from the UK and Canada.
Okay. Interesting.
And yeah, and some of these founders called me and invited me to work as a technical team leader, and it was great. I grew up with the company. It was a change for me coming from a big company to a startup, but it was great. The different types of challenges,
Sure.
and I grew up with the company. And after a few years, maybe 5 6 years, became the CTO, and then we had also at that time a period of merging with of two companies, and after some restructuring, uh, then there was an opportunity, and I became the CEO, and I was very excited to bring, I think, new ideas and new vision to to Vector. And that's what attracted me, the potential of Vector, and I'm still happy, to continue, I guess, the work of the original founders, but friends of mine, and we were making Vector Networks what the vision was of a few years ago. So I'm very happy about that.
Very cool. So, for people that haven't heard of Vector Networks, what exactly do you guys kind of do, and how do you kind of go about doing it? Because you guys have some huge clients.
Yes, that's right. So we our objective is to provide in innovative solutions for IT
Okay.
and for improving the processes and optimizing the resources. So helping people and organizations to use technology,
Okay.
right? Uh, and how do we help them is, um, well, for example, we have the two main products we have. One is called VIZOR, the other one
Okay.
is PC Duo.
Okay.
And VIZOR, for example, is an IT platform,
Okay.
web-based with that manages the processes for supporting your users, whether they are customers or internal users. So the service management, if you will, but also combining the people, the assets or the devices, and the places, the locations. So managing as an organization, you have technology, mainly computers and software, and the people who use it. So in terms of IT, we provide these. For example, it has help desk inside.
Okay.
It has the ability to track what assets, where the assets are, who has what
Okay.
in every asset, and the life cycle of each asset, not just computers, but everything else. And it also has the ability to optimize the use of the software. So it really tries to help with everything around the IT resources, if you will, and how you deliver this technology in an optimized way to your users. So we want to think that we really help our organizations, our customers, to grow by optimizing their IT. That's our role. That's where we are.
Got
Mm-hmm.
you. Yeah, because I think it's a huge issue to track where people have, all their devices these days, right? Because one person might have 3 or 4 devices themselves. Some might be company owned, some might be personal,
Yes.
and a combo of both, right? And then likely they're probably running personal software and company software on those devices, right? And so managing what's the company's and what's personal can get to be an enormous task, even for a small company, never mind a big company. Fair to say?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And there's all kinds of challenges in terms of just logistics, in terms of accounting, right? Where things are, uh, in terms of when you have so many things in terms of technology, devices, for example. The truth is that a lot of organizations don't have the resources or enough resources to manage this properly.
Okay.
Right? We always have less people that we need, right?
Yeah,
especially in IT. So yeah, so for example, we have quite a few organizations that we have worked closely over the years.
Okay.
And before our software, for example, they have hundreds or thousands of devices that they didn't know whether they were still being used or not.
Sure.
Or access to software and systems. So it's both a cost problem, licenses, but also a security problem, right?
Right.
So it's a big problem, how to manage this properly. Accounting, security. One of the things, for example, that VIZOR does is we call it the automated provisioning. Okay. So, and long story short, this VIZOR talks to the systems in the organization, whether it's the human resources system or others, it depends, and it detects if there's a new employee coming, next week, or someone changing position, right? Someone is moving from cardiology nurse to another type of nurse, and it automatically provisions the assets and coordinates the actions needed so that the new position, the person, gets the assets that they need or she needs for that new role, and the old ones are removed. So you reduce the waste, and you also control security better. So you know, in this case, is moving from accounting to whatever finance administration, and so the system will know that you no longer need access to the accounting system. Right. So it will remove the license and the access. So that is good. And yeah, it is good. And it also has some more operational parts of the product, so that it helps on the daily, more processes around providing access to these, because not all tasks can be automated. There's a lot of tasks that, of course, humans, we still need people to do.
Sure.
So we have the product for that, the kind of service management help desk product to create the tickets and follow the tickets, and that's one part of what we do to help them. Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, right? I think having something that automates as much as possible is so useful. I've done some of that kind of support years ago, and obviously a lot of it was pretty manual, and so just how much time can be saved, right? I think, sure, you're saving time on licensing and not having kind of extra licenses floating around or whatnot, but even saving your people time is saving you time and money, right? They can do other things, basically. So I'm curious, though, to know what the PC Duo product is.
So the PC Duo product is a remote control product.
Okay.
And so that is for connecting to computers and to either help the person that is using the computer, so seeing what the user sees and then help, or connect to unattended computers, for example, in a manufacturing plant, right? And then
Okay.
you connect to it. In fact, we have pretty interesting cases with our software about unattended computers. So PCDO helps you to connect users to connect to computers.
Okay.
It's more there's a few products out there, but our PC Duo is really best in class in terms of security and enterprise management. So that is where we excel.
Okay.
It's really good at that. Is a corporate super secure is very good.
Okay, so how does it kind of work? Like, give me some use cases of how people actually use PC Duo.
Well, for instance, we have organizations that have manufacturing plants.
Okay, sure.
And they need to give access to their suppliers or vendors, and more they have the need to connect to your servers, and they will try to work remotely.
Okay.
And so you want to give them access to those computers, but those computers are mission critical.
Right.
And so how you give access to the externals or even internals from a different department, different area of the company, to work with that server or that computer that can be the one that starts the manufacturing plant, or one of them.
Okay.
Or so we do have some interesting cases, like our software in remote North Sea oil rig pipeline control systems. We also have our software in three of the largest multinational pharmaceutical companies.
Okay.
Because it's very secure, our software. We also have this, without saying the name, a leading German manufacturing company for plants. Yeah. Also the Canadian federal law enforcement agencies using
cool.
our hospitals, schools, the largest state police agency in the U.S.
Wow.
As well. Some central emergency command and control, these centers for emergencies. They also use our software. So quite interesting. Even just thinking, we even have our software in the pits of Formula One race teams.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we have all kinds, and very, very happy to be working closely with them. We really enjoy that. Working with not necessarily big. Some are small companies, and we give them an edge, innovative extra that helps them in either their critical systems or whatever they're doing.
Sure. So the race team example you just gave, how do they use your software? Like what way would they want to use it? Do they remote log into a computer offsite? Because obviously you can't really roll up a computer, right?
Yeah,
I guess you could bring a laptop
something
or
like
something,
that.
but
Something like that.
okay.
I can't disclose too much about that, but
Okay, fair enough.
something like
Okay, no, that makes sense. So I'm curious though, because I really think that's kind of the future of computing. I know it used to be like that decades ago, where you basically had a dummy computer that you just logged into a computer and used its
right.
resources, right? I think we're kind of getting away from needing a really high-end computer, sitting at your desk, where you can have kind of a inexpensive hardware terminal that you remote connect to something. It could be in your office, it could be on the other side of the world, or it could be both. What's
Yes.
your thoughts on that, though?
No, I think you're right. Technology moves in some kind of in a spiral, right?
Right.
And you're you remember the terminals from banks,
Sure.
right? The black with the
Yeah.
green characters. Uh, so they had nothing, almost a monitor, and all the processing in somewhere in the back, and then the computers, or the end computers, became smarter, and we had the PCs, and then kind of moved a lot of the intelligence moved into the PC, but then back to the servers, and then with the mobile, we have the same kind of situation. They were so simple at the beginning that you need a lot more in the back, and then they became smarter. So a lot still now happens in the phone,
Right.
but then you also have more and more processes that are just too heavy.
Right.
For example, artificial intelligence.
Sure.
Some of those things will just, they don't really run on a phone, but you need them,
Yeah.
in your phone. So that's what you're saying, which is, yeah, the device itself is not exactly a fantastic processing thing, but it connects to the back end that maybe a farm of servers in somewhere in Austin, Texas, and that does the whole thing, and then you have the experience from your phone. You don't really know where is what part runs where, right? It's just
Right.
that's the beauty of this. We have the smart speaker, or the little almost photo that is also for Skype calls. So all these things, these devices that they just do the work, and that's what you want. You don't know whether part of it is locally there, right, in your you know living room, or
Sure.
part of, or most of it is somewhere in the Bay Area. So it's an interesting evolution, where I think we need a lot of resources in the back,
Right.
and that's great for us, companies
Yeah.
like us,
Fair enough.
because what's happening is there's just more and more complexity and need to manage all those things.
Sure. Well, and I also think too, and you can tell me your thoughts on this, is most people, whether they're technical or not, for the most part, don't really care what operating system they're necessarily using anymore. They just want to click Skype or a browser or an app, and just, I don't care if it's streaming to me from the internet. I don't care if it's installed locally or it's a combo of both. I just
Hmm.
want it to work, right?
Yeah,
And it be fast.
yeah, and that's great. I think so, and I think that's very welcome, right? I think
Yeah.
we know it's we just want to focus on, in reality, technology should be just about what value brings to you, not about the actual technology. Even though there's people like me sometimes that care about the specifics,
Sure.
and that's just something that happens, and almost happens, this year, but maybe not 10 years from now. So the reality is what is that application software doing for you? And yeah, we want this to work regardless of the infrastructure. And I think that trend is putting all companies, to a bigger challenge, because we all expect things at work and at home in terms of technology to work seamlessly, and I don't need to know, and that's fine. But I think maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, organizations were more needed to have more training, or we're thinking, well, that's technology, so if you're going to use this, you have to learn how to use that tool. Now the expectation is, yeah, but that tool has to be intuitive enough, and it has to just be able to, you should be able to just use it pretty much.
Yeah, fair.
And it should just work. Now, all that magic to work well and to work all the time, you need technology to work well, and all the little issues that do happen, be able to correct them and optimize them. So that's where companies like ours exist, and we come in and help so that all that happens. The scaffolding and the behind scenes is sometimes still dirty. So a lot of the technology hasn't changed in it still has a lot of problems.
Yeah, interesting.
No, that still happens. We're talking about AI right now, and so very fancy, interesting things, and then we go to a presentation with the same individuals that were thinking on the future, 3 years from now of AI, and we have trouble with the projector, right?
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, fair enough.
That still happens. That's still technology, still humans, and that's still here. So I think we have still a long way until we make technology really, really user friendly, easier to manage, and I guess more reliable in general as a system as a whole.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting though, but I think if a company tried to build what you guys have built at Vector Networks internally, would be a huge amount of time, effort, and an ongoing amount of time and effort, where if they just basically pay you guys to handle it, that's your problem and not their problem, right? Where you're saving them a huge amount of time and money and effort.
Yes.
Fair to say?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, absolutely. And like everything, I'm sure if you and I we study for many hours, we're gonna know about law, right?
Or sure.
But really, it just doesn't make sense that we do that when there's someone who already paid the price, the time, the effort, and the person is a lawyer, and then the costs are actually spread among different companies because all these companies use our products, so they all leverage on the experience that we have and the technology that we keep innovating, we keep improving those. And so I think it makes sense. It's as a society we're correctly, I think, outsourcing more of I'm not talking about the jobs, but the function, right? The expertise, and a lot of our customers are not the big names I kind of mentioned to you, are just small, medium companies. And why should they not have the best possible management for their technology? So this is technology that is for them as well, not just for big companies.
Makes total sense.
Thanks for listening to Building the Future. This show is heard by more than 1 million people monthly in over 15 markets worldwide, including Silicon Valley. Kevin Horick's guests are leading business owners, successful entrepreneurs, and merchandisers worldwide. Now, your brand has an opportunity to tap into this dedicated and active group of business people who are looking for places to invest and the right opportunities to support. Find out how you can get involved at buildingthefutureshow.com.
So you guys have a conference coming up in Montreal. What exactly is the conference about, and why did you guys decide to put on a conference?
Yeah, we do. The name of the conference is IT Vision.
Okay.
And the way this has started was, as I mentioned before, we're focused on delivering a flexible platform and what's the future of our customers' needs in IT. Okay. So what we hear all around is there's so many developments in terms of artificial intelligence or big data, Internet of Things,
sure,
where there's a lot of new systems and new technologies coming to the organizations.
Okay.
Now, then we decided, well, what is our role? How can we help our customers to do that better and appropriately when that arrives? Because at the end of the day, we talk about fantastic AI technology. Well, that ultimately will have to be implemented, deployed, and supported by the IT teams, right? Yeah. So they will have to make it work. So how do we help these teams? That's us, Vector Networks. How do we help these teams to be ready if they have to, or how do we prepare for that? Do we have to prepare? There's a lot of questions that we have, and then the more we investigated, the more we realized that there was a lot of discussion about the fundamentals of AI, for example, or Internet of Things, but not much about the intersection with IT and whether the strategy, the business strategy, and the experiences of this introduction of these technologies into the organization. How do we really, in practical ways, and I'm not talking about technology here in terms of, this specifics and this software. No. In general, how do you approach and this team? How does a team like IT get ready for that, and how do they determine they should implement these technologies or not? And then we realized that we have to start from the background of what is this bringing to my organization potentially? Many organizations, of our customers, are not clear on how AI will help them, or whether they are ready for them or not.
Sure.
Or should they prepare? Even the workforce.
Yeah. Interesting.
Are my skills, if I work in IT, are my skills ready for when that happens? Do I have to evolve in some way? So we looked at we actually wanted initially to join somewhere else this conversation.
Okay.
But we investigated and we just didn't find one. We didn't find that conference and discussion with in this year would probably be more AI, but it's not necessarily AI. It's just the technologies that are right now strong, kind of in 2-3 year period coming, and what is the strategy of adoption, IT strategy, and have that discussion. Is more discussion and bring experts into that discussion. So we decided to organize it. Okay. So we created a conference.
Sure.
And for technology and IT people, IT professionals. And so this is the first year, and we're very happy to host it in Montreal, which is also a very important center for artificial intelligence and technology in general. So we're very happy to have great people in the panel, and I think it's exactly what we wanted to have in terms of the discussion.
Very cool. And Montreal, I must say, is definitely one of my favorite cities in Canada. I've been there a few times. Actually, the whole province of Quebec is actually quite beautiful. So if anybody is looking to come to Canada for the first time, it's actually one of the better cities, in my personal opinion. Being Canadian, I think I can say
that. Full disclosure.
Yeah, I've said it a few times, so it's probably people have heard it before. But I'm curious, though, do you maybe want to talk about a few of the speakers that you guys have actually got this year actually coming to the event?
Sure. So we have, I think it's a good mix of academia and companies, okay, organizations for sharing the experience.
Okay.
Of implementing these type of technologies. So we have a little bit of everything in terms of we have people from academia, very researchers of okay, excellent level, from artificial intelligence labs.
Okay.
Talking about the state of the technology, right?
Got you.
So the idea is, okay, they're going to do their best to bring it down so that we all can understand.
Yeah, fair. It's tricky, coming, right? Yeah, right? Interesting. Yeah.
But I know them, and I know they're going to do a great job at translating that to us. So we have that kind of the state of the technology. What is it? What is happening out there, and what can this really mean for organizations?
Right.
Now, then we have people. Experts in IT strategy,
okay,
or technology strategy, discussing about the possibilities. Is that for everyone? What type of organization could use AI, and what are the challenges? I think that's key. We want to discuss about the challenges, and and then that leads me to the kind of the third component, which is the companies sharing their experiences. So we have people from companies as well that have implemented AI.
Okay.
And I would say we have two flavors. Companies who have implemented AI.
Okay.
Just for themselves to be competitive.
Interesting.
That is, for example, the case of Julie from Workland, okay, an HR provider with AI, and also that's also the case of Alistair. He's from in a very interesting company with for agriculture and greenhouse type of agriculture. So that is trying to introduce this type of advanced technology in that space. So you have these companies that are introducing to others, but also the ones that have already implemented AI. So we'll talk about their own challenges. On the one side, the challenges of implementing internally. How do you deal with that? Is there any suggestions to be made on your technical teams to get ready or to start implementing or considering? And then on the other side, the challenges of companies implementing AI for others. That is the case of Alistair with this agriculture. In his case, that's going to be an interesting one as well, because it's the adoption of this technology in this type of organizations is quite challenging, because they are not exactly this is not a software company that is used in embracing the bleeding edge of technology.
Right.
They are more conservative, and for a good reason.
Okay.
So what are the challenges of introducing advanced or super innovative technology into a more conservative organization? right?
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
so I think that's going to be also very interesting. We have Dr. Joel Martin, who is the director of R&D for the National Research Council of Canada.
Oh, very cool.
Uh, he has, yeah, this is a great presentation on machine learning.
Interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting, and specifically on human designers. That's a very
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah, no, we have excellent people in the. We have Caroline Pernel, which is who up until recently she was in Nevada, who was an organization linking. Um, I'm going to simplify it for now as artificial intelligence with the industry.
Okay.
So linking this implementation of advanced technology, and so she has a lot of good experience in other organizations in technology, plus with this linking of academia and industry. Mhm.
Okay. Interesting.
Uh, yeah, yeah. We have. I'm very happy to have as well uh, uh, Carolina Becerra.
Okay.
She is a chief scientific officer at it's a company here in Montreal, Strategy AI.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah. So what they do is they tailor solutions based on AI for important, interesting challenges.
Sure.
So she has a lot of experience implementing AI as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're very
No,
happy about the panel and the speakers.
sure. No, I think that's really great. But we're kind of coming to the end of the show. So let's maybe close with mentioning where people can get more information about Vector Networks and IT Vision.
Yeah, so in terms of if you just go to itvvision.vector-networks.com,
Perfect.
that's the website for the event IT Vision that we're hosting. You can also search it and find us in different places like Eventbrite and the likes. If you Google IT Vision Montreal, I'm sure it's going to come
Sure, sure.
right there. And the event is on November the 9th. This is in Montreal in the Palais de Congrès.
Oh,
So right there at the center. And it will be a series of presentations and a panel. It includes lunch and networking at the end. And I want to mention that as well because we're trying to create the discussion and have the we're targeting IT professionals
hmm
first, especially the ones that need to make some decisions
right.
or will be making some decisions soon. We're also attracting technology enthusiasts. Like if they, the sometimes their organizations don't know much of the value that they're bringing. So we hope also
Uh,
that in this event, they kind of part of the focus is not super technology, it's strategies, the value of things in terms of that's the important part of the
got you.
technology. What value brings to the organization. So maybe they can bring back these ideas to the organizations and also business founders that they want to stay ahead and they don't need to be IBM or Johnson Johnson to have AI or advanced technology. They
Got
can
you.
join and benefit. And in terms of the networking, I think it would be great if not only if they come and benefit from these and the subjects, the topics, reach these goals, but also if we can encourage them to collaborate with one another and be part of the networking event and working more as a community. We'll have workshops in the future and we'll have more sort of a community around these topics.
Very cool. And if
Mhm.
people want to get more information about Vector Networks, where can they do that?
Yeah, vector-networks.com. That will be the company website. You can also go to our flagship product, VIZOR. If you go to visor.cloud,
Okay.
simple.
Perfect.
Visor.cloud, flagship product. That's you can take a look at the IT platform. Mhm.
Perfect, Eric. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be on the show, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you and have a good rest of your day, man.
You too. My pleasure, Kevin. Take care.
Thanks very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Please visit our website at buildingthefutureshow.com to join the free community, sign up for our newsletter, or to sponsor the show. The music is done by Electric Mantra. You can check him out at electricmantra.com and keep building the future.